as he recovers from injury. So Baylor Scheierman, who was the first-round pick, the 30th pick overall last season, is now stepping into that second year and most likely stepping into a much larger role for the Boston Celtics, an opportunity for him to play in this upcoming season.
There's a look at Scheierman's numbers so far. Struggled in game one, a little bit in game two, but his overall play has been lauded by Summer League head coach Matt Reynolds, and having a good positive overall impact at both ends of the floor. Meanwhile, Charles Bassey, I would be surprised if he doesn't come away from Las Vegas with some type of contract.
Well, we've seen Bassey have success in San Antonio. He's been a starter in this league, so the numbers that he's put up in Summer League really aren't a surprise. As a young man that understands how the game is played, he knows his role and how he can help a team be successful, and he has done just that here for the Celtics.
Switch gears a little bit to the Miami Heat. They were 37-45 a season ago, 8th place in the Eastern Conference. Heat culture carries with it exceedingly high expectations. You think back to a year ago at this time, right, Corey? Bilal Ware was the guy that surprised everybody, had promise written all over him. The expectations have raised for him. What do you make of the way he's played so far?
I believe he's responded very well and was called out by his coach. That's what Heat culture is about. You have to be able to accept criticism and, more importantly, respond to it. And you see that's exactly what Bilal Ware did. After game one, Eric Spoelstra wasn't happy with his production. He made it very clear. Bilal Ware responding in the right way. 21 points, 8 of 14 from the field. More importantly, the 9 boards. That's where they need to see him make the improvement.
Rev up that motor some and put up some numbers today. Let's go courtside to Vanessa with more.
So happy to be joined now by Pelle Larsson. And Pelle, Summer League, of course, is a great place to showcase your skills and what you can do. What do you hope to prove while you're here?
We're trying to win, man. We're trying to prove that we can play as a team, okay with the pass, play harder than another team. That's about it right now.
You were one of the bright spots in that loss to the Cavs. What are some specific things you guys hope to clean up today?
Rebounding. They dominated us on the rebounds. Both our losses have come from that, and taking care of the ball.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
In a couple of games here in Las Vegas, he's averaging 15 points a game on just 38% shooting from the field. We're going to get ready to run this next one between the Heat and the Celtics here from the Pavilion on day 5 in Las Vegas. Back after this.
Oh, it's mesmerizing.
I can't look away.
One between 37-45 last year against the Celtics, who are 61-21. Matt Reynolds has dominion and sovereignty over the sidelines here tonight for the Boston Celtics. Native of, actually went to Syracuse University. Cuse began his career in 2015 with the Celtics, like so many other people do. Corey, in that video room, man, slicing up tape.
That's where it is. Matt Reynolds, actually, I have opportunity to work with him at the Jason Tatum camp. No surprise, Boston superstar having Matt at his camp, but he does a great job cutting up film for young players. I believe Jordan Walsh may have been one of the guys that visited us at JT's inaugural camp 3 seasons ago. So the product of the Boston Celtics also getting tutelage from JT back in the day.
Right. Almost preordained, maybe, that those two ended up together in Boston. Meanwhile, Eric Glass is the Summer League head coach for the Miami Heat out of Cal State Fullerton. Longtime member of the Heat organization, coached several Summer Leagues, coached the Sioux Falls Skyforce, the team's G League affiliate, during the 2019-20 pandemic-shortened season. And has a lot of international experience as well. Working with Mike Fratello with Team Ukraine back in 2013 as they introduce the starters here at the Pavilion. Miami, the reigning Summer League champs. Corey, they're off to a bumpy start. We should be able to tell exactly how much they want to be here in the first few minutes, right?
I believe we will absolutely see that. And one thing we saw Vanessa's interview with Pelle Larsson, the first thing he said was, I just want to win, man. 0-2 here for the Miami Heat, and especially for a group of guys who are coming off of what was a winning trip to Vegas last year. They want to get in these standings right here where you see the teams that are undefeated and going to be vying for a Summer League championship.
Top 4 teams qualify for the semifinals. The championship game will be played on July 20th on ESPN. And you speak with some of the coaches and some of the front office people around Summer League, and the one common denominator, Corey, I keep hearing coming up is it's never too early to begin winning culture. Even if your team is in a rebuild, or if you're in the middle, or even if you're at the top, to win something like this tournament does mean something.
It really does. And again, development comes through winning. At the end of the day, guys want to become better skilled. They want to become better players. But winning is important. And you will not find anyone, especially in the Miami Heat culture, that tells you different than winning doesn't come without development.
Getting ready for the tip. Bassey and Ware. And Walsh quickly out of the gate. Smokes the dunk. And it'll come back the other way. An inauspicious beginning for Jordan Walsh. No longer the youngest player on the Celtics team.
No, but I'll take this attempt. At the end of the day, you want to be aggressive, unable to get it to go, but winning the tip and being aggressive right off the start. Jordan Walsh going 1-on-2, and dunking is something that he does well, so not used to missing many of those.
Out on the wing, it's Stevenson. It's Ware at the elbow, faces up, fires, and left it on the front rim. See if Shireman can get out of the gate quickly and find his offensive flow. Bassey off the elbow. Shulko with a nice step back from 15. Rebounded by Ware.
And it's rare to see a matchup like this where you've got two guys who have spent a lot of time in the starting lineup as centers during actual NBA action. Khalil Ware and Charles Bassey going at it here today.
Bassey with the outlet. Gonzalez, the rookie out of Spain, number 28. Shulko on the baseline. Lobbed up for Bassey in the slam. Charles Bassey makes it 2-0 just underway here. Watched him with the San Antonio Spurs several times last season. Shot clock down to 8. Good defense by Shireman, hounding the ball handler and peeled him clean. And a great pass from his backside. Count it and put one on the mixtape.
But Shireman, the way he led Jordan Walsh right into that, almost as a quarterback throwing, as you mentioned, off of his back pocket.
Got to get another look at that play. It's Pelle Larsson got fouled.
We'll give Shireman a tremendous amount of credit. First diving for the ball, but then the lefty toss right on the money, hitting Jordan Walsh in stride. And Walsh going with the layup this time, but more importantly, the short two instead of the highlight finish.
Pelle Larsson at the free throw line for Miami. Shot 67% during the regular season for the Heat. Here in Las Vegas, averaging about 15 points per game. A guy that, as you look at the Heat roster, has an opportunity to be really entrenched in the top 6, but maybe even a starter. And he and Jaime Jaquez battling for minutes at that spot.
Well, when you consider one of the things that's necessary for you to be a part of that Heat rotation is toughness, and Pelle Larsson absolutely has that toughness. Now in his second year, this is when organizations expect for you to make that jump. They want to see it here in the summer, but more importantly, once you get to training camp in the fall.
Stevenson all over Gonzalez. They blitzed him, and took his cornbread. Wow. Kyra Lewis came in like a bolt.
But, Jonesy, you can see Gonzalez taking exception to the physical play by Stevenson, getting up into him on the screen. And then, as you mentioned, Kyra Lewis just so quick, jumping out there, taking the basketball away, forcing Gonzalez to foul. And I believe we're looking at a clear path foul.
Well earned. And there's a look at Gonzalez, who admitted after the first Summer League game that he played, he missed the second one, that adjusting to the speed of basketball here in America and the NBA was a major part of the equation for him. He'll be sidelined out of bounds. Young man played for Barcelona.
He's not alone.
Real Madrid. But that's blasphemous.
Yeah.
That's the other team. Real Madrid.
But he's not alone. Again, there's so many different players here battling with the speed of the game. And guess what, Jonesy? It gets even faster once we hit October.
Oh, boy. Larson with a ball fake inside Ware. Nice catch and finish by Khalil Ware.
And I love the presence of Khalil Ware to recognize where he was. Normally he would try to dunk that one, but he knew he was too far away from the rim, so just finishes with the soft touch.
Gonzalez in the corner. Back out to Walsh. Gonzalez slips out. Ware switches on to him. Bassey, can we say that he designed it that way?
Well, let's just say that he's pretty much made every other shot during his time here in Summer League, so no surprise that Bassey's able to get that one to go.
Wow, great jelly around the rim that time by Kyra Lewis. He's a four-year pro.
And former lottery pick by the New Orleans Pelicans. 12th pick overall.
Yep. Gonzalez lost it against Ware. Lewis into the front court. Larson off the bounce to Lewis. Got it back. Great ball fake for the bucket.
But you can see how things have slowed down for Pelle Larsson. I mean, even in comparison to a season ago when the Miami Heat won the Summer League championship, he made a big shot for them in the championship game.
Bassey got fouled that time, Corey, on the alley-oop attempt. And he'll go to the free throw line for a couple of shots.
As we revisit with Larsson, made a huge play at the end of the game for them in overtime of the championship, but he wasn't the main cog. It was Alondas Williams, it was Josh Christopher. Those guys really carried the team. But we talked with Coach Glass pregame. He talked about how Pelle Larsson and KJ Kashad Johnson, those guys have really stepped up in a leadership role this season here for this group in Summer League.
The discerning eyes of the coaching staff in front office always watching with both these teams as Bassey knocks down the first foul shot. A 64% free throw shooter on the season. A surprise late addition to the Celtics roster. Released by the San Antonio Spurs. And, well, you talk about found money. He's been arguably their best player here.
He absolutely has, and he's a young man that has an opportunity to get quality minutes for the Boston Celtics, and he's only helped himself here in Summer League.
Nice spin by Ware, couldn't cash, and rebounded by Bassey. Shireman. Walsh with a nice seal. Whistle, foul, too little.
But now going into his third season, that's not a play we would have seen from Jordan Walsh last summer, even 2 summers ago. Sealing, running the floor, and more importantly, taking advantage of that size and athleticism, the strength to be able to finish through the contact of Stevenson.
Corey, I thought I heard somebody say weight room down there. I'm not sure.
I'm sure you probably did.
Jordan Walsh at the free throw line. Speaking with Drew Carter, who, colleague of ours at ESPN, covers the Celtics, tells me that Jordan Walsh was named after the River Jordan, not Michael Jordan, as most in our sport and business would assume. In a good flow so far, 3-point lead for Boston. Larson turns the corner. That baseline three was pure. He shot Johnson out of Arizona.
And nice read by Larson, recognizing that the Celtics wanted to make sure they took away the lob to Khalil Ware.
Shoga fouled by Kyra Lewis. Clean start by both teams. 11 apiece when we return.
NBA 2K26 Summer League is proudly sponsored by NBA2K26.
Horford is considering multiple teams, but also retiring. I believe he's in the midst of making that decision as to whether he's going to come back and play next season. But without assuming he doesn't return to the Celtics, that's going to leave a large opportunity for guys to get minutes, considering Porzingis is gone. We know Luke Kornet signing with the San Antonio Spurs. And now, if Al Horford doesn't come back, that's going to leave a huge void right in the middle of the Celtics lineup.
We knew that there were pending financial decisions to be made by the Boston Celtics and their front office with second apron issues as they keep turn it over. Corey, I like to say but you can't be balling on a budget.
No, you can't. And when you consider this is a team that won a world title just 2 seasons ago, right? To see what's going on with this organization, but that's what the second apron has done. I mean, that's the reality behind it, you know, and when you look at it again, it's one thing to go over the luxury tax, but something completely different to be penalized over $200 million. And again, I don't know any businessman that's going to be able to, you know, take that lightly.
It's going to be an offensive foul against Golden. As I said, there was a seismic shift in what their lineup's going to look like. 2 different starters gone. Luka Garza signed from the Minnesota Timberwolves as a free agent. Niang in that deal.
And when you look at these 2 lineups, Jonesy, the biggest difference in what you see and what you'll lose from the Boston Celtics is defense. And that's, of course, the way they were able to win a world title. You bring in George Niang, who's an elite offensive player. However, defense isn't his strong suit. Nor with Luka Garza, who has proven that he can get the job done offensively, but defensively, there are times where he struggles on that end of the floor. So that's going to be a concerning area this season for the Boston Celtics if this is a lineup that they're putting on the floor.
Walsh knocks down his second field goal. Long 3. He's got a total of 8. Out top to Ware. He's made a couple of threes already. Did so in the last game. That ball out of bounds. It'll come back. Boston basketball. Ware points at his chest, taps it, says, my bad. They're going with a too big look here, Corey. And do you see that with the success of OKC with their 2 bigs, Chet and Hartenstein, being any kind of a trend?
You absolutely do, but what's important, and I've been told this by, it goes back to Frank Vogel, who won a championship with 2 bigs. with Anthony Davis and, of course, Dwight Howard, the size that they had with the Lakers in 2020, a prerequisite, if you're going to play two bigs, one of them has to be a three-point shooter. And so that means that Kel'el Ware is going to have to be a guy that can make this shot. And on cue, he's able to knock one down. He heard me, Jonesy.
Ware, and more than anything, Eric Glass, the Summer League head coach for the Heat, probably thrilled with the amount of engagement by Ware so far. He's involved. Norris, meanwhile, with a counter three at the other end. Cook on the bounce around the Ware screen. Hard roll. Ware in traffic. Couldn't get the tip to go. Great effort by Kel'el Ware to keep that possession in Miami's favor.
But I love that play so much simply because even though he just knocked down 1-3, he didn't settle. He tried to get closer to the rim and attack, unable to finish. But the second effort, the third effort to be able to come away with the offensive rebound, he's chasing it all the way out to half court. That's why Eric Spoelstra called out Kel'el Ware after game one. This is the effort he wants to see from him every time he steps on the basketball court.
Of course, we all know about the hardest working, meanest, nastiest, best conditioned team in the NBA. That's part of the freedom. These coaches are often missing from outside. Isaiah Long, rebound Boston. Gonzalez, he says why not. 3 for a quarter, they don't get any. And here's Lewis. Under 3 minutes to go. And he throws it away. Timeout on the floor. Sometimes the Heat want to know where you at.
Find me out here, 305, or let's just call it 3.
Love. So cute.
An admitted struggle for Spoelstra in Miami, finishing up just 37 and 45 for 3-time champions.
Of course, flanked by one of those 3-time champions, Udonis Haslem, and also on the other side, my guy Chris Quinn, who happens to be Spo's workout partner. And those two have a tremendous competition, which everything in Miami is a competition, right?
Yeah.
But they have a tremendous competition, and Quinn often jokes with Coach Spo about he's thinning out a little bit. He's not, not putting in the proper weight room work. So Spo likes to show me, he'll show me that leg press, say, you see that? Destroyed that today.
They'll be doing body fat percentage tests like they regularly do down in Miami.
Yes, goes for coaches too.
Wong out to Gonzalez, missed his last one, got peeled. Tough defense by Miami. That's the 4th turnover for Boston. Marcus Williams out top. Fellow Larson now. Larson got blitzed, and they turn him over. Lofton. Boston out of Louisiana Tech. Gonzalez with the sidestep. Back out to Wong. Wild shot, but he draws the foul, and Isaiah Wong out of the University of Miami will go to the free throw line for a couple of shots.
As much time as you spent in the 305, you don't just call it the U? I mean, I think you can get away with that.
I'm trying to. You know what? I got the papers on that.
You got papers on that.
Isaiah Wong had a great career for Jim Larinaga down there at the U. Lovely Coral Gables, Florida. Summer League action continues tomorrow on NBA TV, ESPN, and the ESPN app. NBA TV tonight has Clippers-Lakers at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow on NBA TV, it's Minnesota-Detroit at 4:30, followed by OKC Orlando and Philadelphia against Washington. Have you seen Trey Johnson from Washington?
I have absolutely seen
a bucket. I mean, here he has looked at times, I would say, the best player, the most prolific scorer, controlled scorer on the court.
That's exactly what he is, Jonesy. And of course, I've known him since he was in the 9th grade, and he's been that way since. And again, you know, he talked about really taking the game seriously going through COVID.
Wow.
He spent a lot of time just working on his game in the gym by himself during COVID. And then once it was over, he had a different mentality of how he had fallen in love with the game. And it shows in the amount of work that he's put in and his ability to score in the rock.
Yeah, some of the Wizards coaches have already told me they've had to shut him down a couple of times this summer and lock him out of the gym. Tremendous.
I personally had to take the basketball away from Trey at the Nike Basketball Academy the last 2 seasons.
You know he hit another one.
But that's the thing. He walks around with the ball. Even at the draft, the ball that's sitting on the table, he's walking around with it the entire time, every time he gets up to move.
3-point Miami lead. Joe goes to the corner. That corner three comes off. Bassey battling underneath, but it will go to Johnson and Miami. Great way to relieve a little ball pressure, get a screen in the backcourt. Williams. DHO to Larson. Found the seam, kicks it back out to Williams. Wonderful movement. But no motion at the end. They come up short on the bucket attempt. 52 seconds to go. Celtics basketball. Shulga up top. Around the Bassey screen. Whistle, foul. And a good read that time, as the Celtics will get a couple of free throws out of that sequence. Max Shulga out of Virginia. Showed pretty good discernment that time in pick and roll action. Of course, he's a Virginia guy.
Well, he's a Virginia guy, but not a University of Virginia guy. So he actually had an opportunity. No, that doesn't count. You know, and I would love to take credit for Max, but we won't be able to get that. He's a Virginia Commonwealth University guy. But I will say this: he did play for Ryan Odom, who's now the head coach at University of Virginia. So we'll take that. As Pelle Larsson will absolutely take 3 and an opportunity for one more. Great 2-for-1 chance for the Heat that turns out in their favor.
Larson has really gotten his good offensive rhythm over the last couple of games. One more look. Larson during the season shot 34% from deep, has 7 here tonight. And big summer ahead for him still, as Pelle Larsson will play for Sweden in Eurobasket. It's coming up next.
And I believe this will be Pelle Larsson's last game with the Miami Heat, correct?
Yep. Gonzalez working against Williams. See how tight his handle is here. Made a nice foray into the paint, but they turned him over. On the move. Whistle and a foul as Golden. Vladislav Golden will get a couple of shots.
Vlad Golden returning to South Florida, of course, a member of Florida Atlantic's Final Four team before spending his last season at the University of Michigan. Now, Jonesy, here's the question. When you have that opportunity, do you take that transition opportunity with 8.6 seconds left, or do you pull that one out as a guard to be able to get the last shot?
You can put your big man in peril by giving him the ball.
You can absolutely do so. And again, so when you look at that as a point guard, I'm not sure that's the right play. It ends up in their favor, getting them to the free throw line, but it also gives the Celtics an opportunity to get the basketball back here with 8.6 remaining.
Golden goes 1 for 2. Johnson with the offensive rebound. Plenty of time, 5 seconds. Williams on the drive-by, sprays it to 3. Got it. So things just happen to work out for the Miami Heat.
I don't think they could have worked out any better for the Miami Heat, so that was a great decision.
Javonte Cook cashes out as Miami ends the period on an 8-0 sprint. Back with the second right after this.
These dishes just aren't getting clean.
The problem isn't your machine.
They were able to go on a little bit of a run there. What's the key defensively?
I think they're getting way too many offensive rebounds. Just like to end the quarter right here on offensive rebound on a free throw. We got to take that out. We got to control the margins like we do, and we got to do it way better.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Larson off the Iverson cut. Williams out top. Little float game. Not a runner, right?
I'm not sure. I think the wrist flicked on that one, so I'm going to call it a runner. But again, I'd have to go back and look.
I don't think he turned it over.
He didn't turn it over? Well, you got better vision than me. I'm nearsighted, so I'm going to take your word for it.
$4,000 worth of LASIK surgery. Better. Just underway here in the second quarter. Gonzalez will go to the free throw line. Foul was against Johnson. Gonzalez does play the game with a degree of flair. Comes from his father, Paco, former Spanish pro player himself. Shot only 27% from deep, though, with Real Madrid.
But a great size for a ball handler, another guy that can be a playmaker for the Celtics. And again, as a young player coming into this league, the physicality, the speed of the game is always going to make a tremendous difference. That's what Summer League is great for you get an opportunity to see and just to get a taste of what it's going to be like. Of course, it will be nothing like this in October. You just add to it as Kendall Brown shows off his athleticism.
What a finish, Corey. Boston back to within 5. That's his first field goal. And Williams, Larson inside. Larson with the left. Good contest by Bassi. Gonzalez on the move. Lost the handle. Johnson, Elvin, and detonates.
But you see the difference in athleticism. Larson goes to the rim on the previous possession, tries to finish around the defender in comparison to KJ going and just finishing over top of defenders. The athleticism plays a tremendous part at this level.
Bassey hands it off to Schultz. Draws the foul. And back to the free throw line for the Boston Celtics.
Keyshawn Johnson coming up with the steal, and then no one stopping the ball. Jones, it's the first rule we learned in biddy ball. Somebody's got to stop the rock. However, no one does. And Keyshawn taking off from right outside of the broken line. I mean, just casually 10 feet away from the basket.
His two-way contract this past season was converted in December to a standard deal. Once said after shortly signing, he said, hey, you know what, quote, I'm a heat culture guy, and that's exactly what he is.
And the reason why he was rewarded with that standard contract, of course, the great Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, they recognize guys who fit into their culture. You think about, of course, Highsmith. You look at so many different players who maybe undrafted or late second-round picks who come in and just fit in to what the Heat culture is. And I mean, speaking of Udonis Haslem, he was absolutely one of those. And of course, got his body together and ends up winning 3 rings and playing 20 seasons in Miami.
Gonzalez with a clean 3 off the mark. Yeah, people forget. You talked about getting his body in shape. Udonis used to weigh well into the 250 range. What an athletic finish again by Johnson.
I believe Udonis was over 3. I think he was.
Nice.
You were being generous.
Because UT's in the building, I'm not going to call him out.
I don't want problems. But I think if you look at him in his Florida uniform back in the day, you see 3 bills.
Here's Larson working against Gonzalez. We're out top. And some delay action. Williams. Nice finish at the rim by Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams with his first field goal. This is as good as Miami has looked offensively in a while in this Vegas Summer League. In the 3rd game, shooting 55% from the field.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for Miami on the offensive end as Kendall Brown knocks down the corner 3. And again, with his athleticism and ability to defend, that's the missing piece for him. If he's able to do that, he can find himself in the rotation for the Celtics as well.
Williams turned it over. Boston on the move. They got numbers, a 3-on-2. Bassey couldn't flush it home. Off the miss. Celtics giving up a fast break here to Cook. Timeout Boston.
4-point swing, and I was just talking about Kendall Brown's athleticism. He tries to lay it up in comparison to dunking it, and it turns in to a dunk on the other end as Cook starts to cook already here in this 2nd quarter for the Heat.
These dishes just aren't getting clean.
The problem isn't your machine. It's likely your detergent.
Really?
Really. I recommend switching to Cascade Platinum Plus. These new pods dissolve completely, releasing more soaking, scrubbing, and rinsing action. Plus, the grease-fighting power of Dawn, breaking down up to 100% of tough, stuck-on foods.
That's impressive.
And it works so well, it even keeps your filter clean. Cascade. Roto-Rooter recommended, safe for pipes.
I got this wow skin from a body wash. It's new. It's Olay Super Serum Body Wash. Sinks into my skin with 5 powerful ingredients. It hydrates, firms, smooths, brightens, and evens. That's 5 skincare benefits in one for visibly improved skin in 14 days. Look at this Olay difference. So
April of 2023, went for 42 against, of course, the now champion Oklahoma City Thunder when he was a member of the Memphis Grizzlies as a rookie. So scoring has never been a problem for Kenny Lofton Jr. And now it's simply about finding a spot for him to get back into a rotation in the NBA. But he's shown that he can be a successful and productive NBA player.
Good help defense there by Lofton to cut off Kashad Johnson. That three comes off to Walsh. I can remember watching Lofton. You watch a lot of FIBA basketball too, especially at the youth level. As Sharman's jumper is off. In the game between France and USA, Wemby against Chet, it was Lofton that at times might have been the best player on the floor. That's the kind of potential that he has.
Yeah, and you think about it, Wemby really at that point had his way with Chet, but he couldn't do anything with Kenny Lofton. And Lofton was doing the same thing to him that he just did to Khalil Ware, backing him down, getting his space, and knocking him off balance so he couldn't even contest his shots.
Man, Ware is holding Lofton like a grudge right now. And Sharman says, I'll do it from deep. But those two were battling down low.
Well, Khalil Ware didn't like being bullied on that last possession. He's going to fight back. And so the best way to do that is push Lofton as far as he can off the block.
Lewis sprays it to the corner. Wild shot is off the mark that time by Cook. Shireman, nice bounce pass. And Walsh punches it home.
And two positive plays in a row by Baylor Shireman, knocking down only his third three-point field goal of the Summer League, and then dropping a dime. It's one thing he's done very well in the two games is distribute the basketball.
Ware, a little casual, turned it over on the pass. Lofton. Austin tries to go quick, and he was held by Cook. Sideline out of bounds. It'll be Celtics basketball. Good dime here by Shireman.
And Shireman knocking down the three ball coming into this game was 2 of 15 from beyond the arc. Knocks down the three and then drops a dime. Had 8 assists the last time out and continues to show his excellent playmaking. 3 assists already for Shireman here this evening. Is it evening? It is evening now, right?
Depending on time zone, it's close enough. In the desert, you never really know.
This is very true. And no windows in here.
Yep. By design. Lofton. Into the corner. Rims off Jordan. Walsh crashing glass. Couldn't get it in Lewis. Howard Lewis lost control. It'll stay Miami basketball. Lewis is, I would guess here at Summer League, safely you could say, top 3 in terms of baseline to baseline fastest guards?
I don't know. I mean, that's like saying I'm top 3 and I'm not 1. I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. I don't know anyone here in Summer League that can cover as much ground as quickly as Kyra Lewis does. And that's one of the reasons why he was a lottery pick by the New Orleans Pelicans 4 seasons ago.
Walsh with the steal. Goes the full 94 feet, too strong. And Vlad with the rebound.
That double big lineup on the floor once again. Coach Glass told us they got beat up on the glass last time out, so he wanted to make sure he put the 2 bigs on the floor at the same time.
Lewis, a little light work, had the ISO on Lofton. He's got 4 points.
Never gave Lofton the opportunity to bully him on that one. Just used the Jets to get right to the rim.
6-point lead for Miami. Walsh off the screen, steps back for 3. Holden with the board. Larson gets it back. Tough screen by Ware. See what kind of bag work Larson has here. Good cross. Threw up a wild shot, though. And it gets the Celtics on a break. 2-on-1. Walsh. Fouled. Count it.
Great
Jordan. And he got a little something to say.
But great concentration by Jordan Walsh, recognizing he's going to get hit. And Stevenson's a tough guy. And he was coming over to deliver a blow. But Jordan Walsh continues to keep his eyes on the target, able to finish. Took a little exception
he said something
to the foul.
Little lip flipping and ego tripping right there. Why not? It's a heck of a move by Walsh.
But I love the officiating to where the officials get in the way. They separate them, but no technical foul, nothing. They just keep playing basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, there were actually offsetting technical fouls. So take it back. I don't like it as much, but even still, no advantage either way.
That to me is the ultimate bailout call, offsetting T. Somebody had to instigate.
This is true. There was an instigation there.
Both of them got one. 3:41 to go here in the first half. Well played offensive first half by the Heat, shooting 54% from the field. Boston just 35, but not that far off. And Jordan Walsh having his best game of summer. Celtics are going to pick up 94 feet, which has been a trend in the NBA overall of late.
And I love it. I ask you this. You cover the game as well as anyone. What team do you feel has done it best, especially throughout this 24-25 season?
Boy, as there are individuals that do it, but I was really impressed with the way that the Pacers did it.
That's my answer.
And to think about where that team came from defensively a year ago. That a coaching job by Rick Carlisle.
Absolutely, and that was my answer. It's the Indiana Pacers. It starts with Andrew Nembhard. I believe they're going to look at, we're getting spicy now. But now here's the question. Jordan Walsh, who just picked up the first technical, just got tossed. That's his second technical foul, as he and Stevenson now have a little bit of a conversation. But as you mentioned, Jordan Walsh, who's been playing his best basketball here of the Summer League, now takes an early exit with 3:34 remaining here in this second quarter after the two-hand shove.
I'm not sure that he's aware that he's out. He does now.
Well, Sarah Williams actually came over with an emphatic ejection. So if he didn't know, as you mentioned, he knows now, but it's the two-hand push. That's what got him right there. So as Pelle Larsson returns fire and he braces himself, gives Sarah Williams a lot of credit. You can see here, boom, there it is. You're out of here, young man.
Hostile act.
Well, the Celtics just lost their leading scorer.
And right in front of Brad Stevens and the Celtics brass.
You can read Brad's lips saying Jordan.
Well, and again, you've got to be smart in that, understanding that you just picked up a technical foul a couple plays ago. And again, and Pelle Larsson taking exception to it, rightfully so, with the two-hand push to send them out of bounds.
Yeah, that is an action worthy of throwing hands if you're Larsson. And I know we have unique rules with regards to fouls. You can amass 10 personal fouls in Summer League play, but that one there, that's an automatic ejection on the second tee. And the officials reviewing it to see if it was a hostile act at all. James Grigol, Sarah Williams, and Paul Toomey are officials tonight.
Jones, you can't get kicked out of a game when you're hooping.
I'm just thinking about that.
It's one thing when you're having a tough stretch, but when you're hooping, Jordan Walsh off to a great start in this game. Already in double figures, shooting an efficient 5 of 8 from the field, already knocking down a 3. You can't get tossed when you're playing this well.
Yeah, no doubt. 38th pick in the draft back in 2023.
Forgive me, he's up to 13 points.
Yeah. Take one more look at what transpired a moment ago. Jordan Walsh shoving Pelle Larsson into the front row, which included the Celtic brass.
After review, after the common foul by Walsh, there's been a double technical foul on Walsh and Larsson. It's also Walsh's second technical foul, so he'll be ejected from the game. Play will resume from the point of interruption, side out, Miami ball. 19 seconds on the shot clock.
I'd love to know the reasoning behind Larsson, who was the victim and the recipient of the contact, why he got it.
Well, you see the first technical foul on Jordan Walsh as Stevenson comes in, brings the physicality. Walsh taking exception to it, making sure he goes over and has something to say to Stevenson. Just the shove there results in the double technical foul, but it's the two-hand push that Pelle Larsson takes exception to. And when Larsson returns back to the area, I believe that's what got him the technical foul. And, of course, Walsh standing up to that gets him the ejection.
Inside, and a foul as Lewis made his foray to the basket. So Miami once again sporting their two bigs look as Kyra Lewis goes to the free throw line. So far, Kel'el Ware with 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Not to make too early of a judgment, Corey, but coach has got to be happy about that.
Got to be
Still
happy.
responding, right?
Yes, and again, he's knocked down 2 threes. So we talked about if you're going to play the two bigs, you got to one of them has to be a shooter, and Kel'el Ware showing that he can make that shot. But more importantly, they want to see him on the glass. The reason they're playing the two bigs is so that they don't get out-rebounded, which they were out-rebounded handily in their second game.
Right around New Year's, this season really took off. Averaged 11 points, 56% from the field. Really became an impactful player. Lofton just ran through over Stevenson, and that's going to be an offensive foul. That's the first personal foul against Lofton Jr.
And when we talked about Stevenson and how tough of a young man he is, of course, played for Bob Huggins at West Virginia. You have to be tough to play there with Huggy Bear, but you also have to be tough to step in front of Kenny Lofton Jr. with all that speed coming down the paint.
Larson 3 off the mark. Celtics with the rebound and a chance to make this a 2-point game. Gonzalez on the cross. Another deep Celtic 3. That one rings out. And Golden ends up falling. A foul on Boston. We're going to take a timeout and come right back.
Unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Let's just get one of everything.
Buy everything.
Yes, quickly put behind them.
Well, you and I had opportunity to actually call the Detroit game when they were in the midst of a 10-game slide, which had been the most since Eric Spoelstra's taken over as a coach of the Miami Heat. So, and again, that game they were in great position until a Cade Cunningham three-point field goal at the buzzer was able to get them that 10th loss in a row. So, but, you know, and we talked with Spo. He learned a lot about himself and his as a coach this year, as well as the guys that they have in their locker room. But he feels as though this is a group that he will go to battle with any time. He loves the character of the guys they have in their organization.
Nice move and layup by Pelle Larsson. He's got 12 in the ball game. Rebound by Golden. Yeah, I remember Coach Spoelstra lamenting the struggles of the Heat during the regular season when we visited with him. He sounded like J. Cole. He was talking about finding beauty in the struggle.
You went Cole World on me, though? He did.
Ware with a couple pivots. And Gonzalez with the rebound with 1:40 to go now in the first half. Gonzalez had it knocked away by Lewis. And the Celtics turn it over.
Jonesy, one thing I'm watching with Gonzalez, oftentimes when players come from Europe to the NBA level, I mean, Summer League especially, they dribble much higher. And again, you'll see as time goes along, either they learn to get lower, we know low man wins, or they don't last long. And when you consider the fact that when you're playing against elite defenders, you've got to make sure you get your shoulders lower than the defender. Otherwise, they're going to have an opportunity to take your candy.
That handle better be real tight. Foul against Gonzalez on that sequence. First foul in the last 2 minutes. Sideline out of bounds, 90 seconds to go. Lewis to trigger for Miami. Larson's been pretty creative with his playmaking and doing it for himself as well. Pass deflected, hit the shot clock. It'll stay down at this end. Heat basketball.
That's a great adjustment by Bassey, recognizing that he was close enough to the ball handler, which means that the likelihood of anyone be there to tag Khalil Ware was slim to none. So Bassey gets his hands on that pass to deflection, saved 2 points for the Celtics.
Larson rejects the screen. Now uses it. That one comes off a little bit strong.
And that was a floater, by the way. I was watching the wrist to see if it flicked.
That's when a floater turns into a runner, right?
Especially when they miss. You know I'm always going to call it out when they miss.
Yes.
You know my disdain for floaters, so I'll always call it out if it doesn't go in.
So you prefer the jump stop and shoot?
No, not jump stop, but more. I just prefer the wrist to flick and you guide the basketball to the rim. Again, you spend so much time shooting the ball. Oftentimes with floaters, you leave it up to chance. Of course, there are many people who disagree with my assessment, but they don't have the microphone, so we really don't care.
Down with the basketball gospel of Corey Alexander. That's my book. Got a violation on the inbound pass. 7th turnover by the Celtics. Lewis brings it across. Got down the lane. Couldn't lay it in. Celtics with 5-on-4 coming back. Sharman walks into the 3. Tipped out of bounds. It'll stay at that end.
Don't mind that shot at all by Sharman. A 2-for-1 opportunity. So he gets a good look at it. And even though the numbers don't say so, you're talking about a great shooter with a wide open look in transition. Unable to get it to go, but I believe this Celtics will get it back with another 2-for-1 opportunity.
Matt Reynolds calls timeout and draw one up when we come back.
Scared of a little blood?
Dr. Garcia?
Whoa!
Press reality checkup.
Bleeding.
Jonesy, this is about the time when you decide whether we're going to go for this thing or not. Once you get to 2-0, now you're looking at, okay, we've got a chance to go get the Summer League ring. And knowing that, that's where you see the Celtics right now at 2-0 with a guy like Bassey continuing to get more and more minutes as this game goes along, because the development and winning becomes important, especially when you're not really certain as to who is going to be in your rotation once you get to the regular season.
Lewis with a deep three behind the screen. We got a whistle and a foul. That's going to go against the Celtics, putting Miami at the free throw line. Interesting to note, Corey, that Boston hasn't scored since Walsh was ejected in about 3 minutes. Took his 12 points with him to the locker room. We're at the free throw line, knocking down the first, a 69% foul shooter on the season for Miami.
And I believe that will go way up this season as he becomes more comfortable getting to the free throw line. Of course, you're talking about a young man who can really shoot the basketball. It's been really a gift of his since he was in high school. He was a three-point shooter in high school, of course, from Arkansas, playing alongside Nick Smith Jr. in high school. You're talking about an elite high school team. Okay. Those two guys on there, both first-round picks.
They better have won the state championship. Ware, the big-time rebound. Eric Spoelstra saying that Ware has to embrace and improve his professionalism and consistency. He's certainly done it here this afternoon. Larson, 5 on the clock. On the blow by Larson, got it on the glass, count it.
The bucket will be good, but I believe they got Kel'el Ware with 2 hands in the back of Gonzalez, trying to get in and keeping away from the glass. So Gonzalez will get free throws on the other end. But you watch Kel'el Ware as the shot goes up, the 2-hand shove.